the cool thing about this particular sequel is the studio actually waited to the perfect director to be available.
James Cameron.
Absolutely. Now this man was coming off of Terminator, yes.
The thing that was interesting about James Cameron is he really wanted to do the sequel to Alien. He really did. And everybody thought, oh, you know, Ridley's going to get the credit. You're just going to be like a guy who did the sequel to Alien. Why are you doing this? And the interesting thing is, he actually wanted to do Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers. So what he did was, he actually combined the Alien with Starship Troopers.
And now, in hindsight, you know, after 1994, when Starship Troopers came out, you can really see the parallels.
You can see
it. You really, really can. It is a very military, very militia, war, guns to the whole freaking movie. In fact, it's actually over the top.
I think that a lot of people,
Yeah, it wasn't just one alien.
It was several different kinds.
It was the threat was the numbers.
Yeah, the hive. There was this huge hive.
And one of the things we should mention about the Alien series before we get too far is each film featured a groundbreaking visual effect and style. Alien was the classic man in the suit. You kept him in the shadows. They didn't show you what he looked like. You never saw the alien until the very end. When the aliens came along, they had to answer the question, where did the eggs come from? People were really questioning that. And of course they did the classic ant hive thing and they made a queen alien.
Yep.
Now the queen alien is what is big and new about the Alien series.
Exactly.
That thing was I believe it was like a 4-person puppet.
Yeah, Stan Winston did that, didn't he? He worked on that.
It is an enormous thing. You know, this is long before the days of CG, which I'm sure if Cameron did it now, it would have been all CG.
Oh, jeez, it would have been.
He's a CGI nut. But he was forced back then by restraints to make this enormous 25-foot giant puppet, which was awesome, and it was the way to go, and it was the way to just do it.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that everybody kind of latches onto in the Alien series. A lot of people think I love Aliens. I think Aliens is probably is a really good movie, but it's not the only one in the Alien series that I like.
They're really hard to compare.
They really are.
I mean, I have my favorite. It always starts an argument, so I'm not even going to go there.
Every director that came into the series brought something new.
Definitely.
Every director.
Not even just storyline or story progression, but as a new effects. Between Alien and Aliens is when the popularity of the comic book came out and the toys came out. And there's a toy line that came out of basically explaining the fact of the xenomorph. Whatever that facehugger impregnated became a xenomorph copy of an alien copy of that particular thing. If it went into a cougar, you got a cougar xenomorph. If it went into a cat, you get a cat xenomorph. If it went into an alligator, you get an alligator xenomorph. It just happened to be in the first Alien, they went into a human. That's why we got the humanoid, famous classic Alien. Which looks something like this. It's human. It's got 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head, and of course, well, a strangely crazy alligator-like tail. But this is the human xenomorph. The toy line. This is the cougar one. He goes for the attack. This was the toy line humanoid one, xenomorph. One of the hardest ones to come by in the collection, the cricket. I once caught a fish this big. And finally, in the toy series, the boar. What was his big thing? Oh yeah, you don't want to mess with those. Okay.
Yeah, I wish those were in the movies. That would have been awesome.
Another thing that Cameron did was he strayed from the original design of the Aliens. See, at this point, Giger was not involved in Aliens. He was a very tunnel vision kind of director. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I think he's amazing. His work is amazing, but his process of getting there can be a bit rocky. He'll spend hours on 100,000 little details, and he will leave the score to the last 4 days of film production.
Which is actually what happened in Aliens.
And that caused a rift between him and James Horner.
Exactly.
What came out of that, though, was the pressure of James Horner coming up with a piece that fit the whole movie. He got to watch the movie and then said, alright, make the score. So he did end up creating a piece of music that became iconic. You used it in a lot of different trailers.
Oh, you've heard
every
it.
sci-fi action trailer,
You've
had
heard
that music, that famous music. They did make up and work together again in Titanic.
They did go back to work together with the Titanic.
Yeah, but it took many, many years.
But in the end, you had a very quotable, very enjoyable, action-packed, amazing film that on many levels it was drama, it was suspense, it was action, it was horror, it was protecting a young child, it was just a whole bunch of stuff that was just, it was really a really good film.
Yes, and it was a completely different flavor from the first one.
Exactly, and that just goes to, prefaces to what they were going to do with movies to come.
But you can totally see the Starship Troopers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Here, in a world where the sun burns cold and the wind blows colder, a visitor has come, but not by herself.
It started.
The suspense is back.
And we have no weapons of any kind?
The fear is back.
Don't look back, dude! Run as fast as you can!
And most of all, the bitch is back. Alien 3.
Now, Alien 3, let me preface this by saying I like the assembly cut of Alien 3 better than I do the theatrical version of the Alien 3. The thing about Alien 3 is you had a fantastic first movie, you had an amazing sequel, and 20th Century Fox was looking at Aliens
As a release date.
it was going to be like a huge franchise.
Yes.
And so there was a whole bunch of ideas that they came up with. One was they were going to focus on Hicks and Newt in
Yes.
one version.
Yes.
They were
Which
going to be the
wouldn't
ones...
have worked. Let's be honest, that would not have worked.
They tried that for about a year. They wrote a bunch of drafts. Didn't work. Then they tried to do a prison planet where all the characters from Alien and Aliens weren't going to be there.
Long or the short, they ended up doing a version of the movie
Mm-hmm.
that I personally am a huge fan. I actually really appreciate Alien 3.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after Aliens. Because, let's be honest, what were you going to do with a third one if you were going James Cameron's direction?
Mm-hmm.
Have 10,000 aliens? I mean, really?
Yeah.
I mean, were you going to, like, have bigger ships? More guns?
Well,
I mean, we could
yeah.
have two queens fighting it out in the airlock. I mean, there was just no other way to go other than back to the original formula of, holy crap, we're trapped in an asshole situation
Mm-hmm.
on a badass planet, and I'm the only chick here, and I'm already in trouble with that alone. Alien 3 is the film that needed to be made to save the franchise, to be honest.
Well, the interesting thing about the original concept of Alien 3 was instead of it being on a planet or anything like that, it was going to be like on a little bit of a planetoid where the entire planet is basically run by monks.
Yeah.